Day 872 off the grid. What did I do today? Well, I revamped the 10-volt battery system's regulator here. As you can see, the Negistor Based Charge Controller is no longer there, and instead there is just what looks like a few simple wires. Yes, I've simplified things. I took the Negistor Based Charge Controller out, got it going, left it soaking on the bench for quite a number of days, and it all seemed hunky-dory, only to install it back in here and find that it immediately started playing up again in the same way. So there wasn't any real fault with it. There's just some kind of instability that it experiences when it's connected to the system with all the other battery chargers and solar panels and various switchings on and off. Obviously some interference gets down the line and trips the Negistor in a bad way. So it works fine when it's on an isolated solar panel, but not anymore, it seems, in the system. So I think that design requires a bit more refinement. One of the main reasons why I chose that approach in the first place is I was worried about the heat buildup in this non-ventilated case from the power device here, this power transistor, 2N2773 I think it is. But I found that that wasn't really an issue, so I thought, why not? Let's just simplify and go to a simple series regulator. And that's exactly what I've done. So we've got a 12 volt zenner diode here, and that in conjunction with the voltage drop of the base emitter junction of the transistor leaves us with pretty much a perfect regulated voltage for the infamous 10 volt battery bank. So that was really nice that those coincidences happened. And of course the base voltage is being tapped off at this point here to turn on the transistor, as you'd expect, at the junction of a zenner diode and a resistor going up to positive. However, as you can see, my resistor is quite different. It's not a resistor at all, it's a bulb. Now, I always like to use bulbs instead of resistors whenever I can because they have some advantages. For one thing, they're an indicator and it instantly lets me know what's going on in the circuit. At the moment, I can see that the zenner diode is regulating by the fact that this bulb's on. I can see that something else in the solar shed is PWMing, that's why the bulb's brightness is fluctuating. So you tell a lot of things. But also the nice thing about this is when the filament's cool, it starts to approach the resistance of a piece of wire. Well, it never fully gets there, but it becomes a very low value resistor, which pretty much makes the transistor behave as a diode. So we've pretty much got just a diode in circuit, which is the collector emitter junction of the transistor. When the voltage rises and current starts to flow through the zenner, the bulb starts to heat up and increases its resistance, and when it's approaching, well, it never gets to full brightness, but when it's getting up there, it starts to assume the value of resistance that I calculated would be suitable for this circuit. So it gives me a real advantage there. It pretty much helps with the regulation because it gives a not virtual, but a quasi constant current source for the zenner. And at a lower voltage range, it allows the transistor to turn on harder way before it's reaching regulation voltage, which is really good. So I've still got the 50 watt halogen bulb here in series. That's so that of course the solar system can't deliver hoofing amounts of current to the 10 volt bank, because I only want 2 or 3 amps maximum to ever charge it. It is after all a 10 volt bank made from old and faulty batteries, and we wouldn't want to be pouring in decades of amps into those batteries, because if another cell falls over in a battery and it becomes an 8 volt battery, it's going to start to get warm. And I've seen batteries getting warm, and I know quite a bit about warm batteries now, let me tell you. So that regulates the current overall, and again it's a bulb, so it's acting as a quasi-constant current source. So we've got some interesting things going on here. You know, very simple components and simple circuits can do quite complex things, but Not hard to build, and therefore simple, reliable as fuck, you know. I don't think there will be a need to change this, and certainly I'm not going to put the Negistor based PWM charge controller circuit back in here. I'll deploy that somewhere else once I've refined it. Maybe something to get around to, you know. But I'm pretty happy what I've done here now. It's reliable, it does the job. So there we go, day 872 off the grid.